Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's a slightly unusual circumstance this week. I am on my own at a completely empty shooting ground that's closed to the public. I've checked with the police, or rather the guys from Bible have checked with the police, and basically I'm safe to be here. I'm not in breach of any regulations during lockdown because I'm on my Todd. It's very strange though being here with literally nothing. There's nobody on the layouts. Very queer. The reason I'm here this week is to kick off what I hope to be a little mini series of videos to assist new shooters. I'm not a coach. I've been shooting for 30 some years, but I don't pretend to be a coach. So this isn't designed for people who are experienced. It's for new shooters that are getting into the sport for the first time and early on in their shooting career. Some help, tips, in getting your license, finding a club, shooting tips, very, very basic stuff that I hope to be of use to you. There's nothing else like it on the net that I can find anyway. I've not seen any guides that help you out as a very, very basic level to get into clay shooting. So let's get into it. So initially finding a club. I'm assuming you've been exposed to shooting in some form, either via a friend or via the internet, or perhaps you've been on a stag do and spent a bit of time and gotten the bug, and you want to find yourself somewhere to shoot. Your best bet is actually going to be the CPSA website. They've got a club finder section. You can, of course, just take straight to Google and do a search, but what you might find there is that you find experience days places rather than clubs, and experience days tend to be much more expensive than club shooting, so your best bet definitely is to find a club via CPSA's club finder. Once you've found a club, generally you'll get the contact details, hopefully for a club in your area. That'll be the secretary or somebody. Speak to them, explain that you want to get into the sport, and they should be able to help you. Now, there's no hard and fast rule for this. Different clubs have different levels of insurance. Some clubs allow you to shoot without a license, some don't. Some clubs will allow you to join without a license, others won't. You're going to have to sort of feel your way around this. My club, when I first started, didn't allow membership applications until you had a license, so I had to sort of shoot as a guest. But they did allow you to shoot as a novice without a license, so it was kind of an ideal situation. Now, you can usually some of the sort of better clubs you can rent a gun, and you can maybe be chaperoned or you can be coached. Your best actual bet is to go to somewhere that actually offers proper coaching with a certified coach. There's no replacement for getting your the basics down early. I'm going to give you some early tips that you might not pick up if you are going to go to sort of a hay biller with your mates and stuff. But honestly, the best way around this is to immediately go somewhere like Bible or another shooting school and actually get some time behind the trigger with a coach watching you. Once you've been doing that, you've then got proof that you've been shooting that's going to help you out when you apply for your certificate. Applying for your certificate, I've already done a great guide video on. I did an interview with Durham Police, their firearms team, which I put the link in the description below. Take a look. But some further tips that maybe we haven't covered in that video around fitting your cabinet, I'm going to talk about in a sec. All right, gun cabinet and security. Now, different forces do have different ways of interpreting the law, but as a rule, generally speaking, if you pick up a BS 7558 cabinet, you're talking about new, you can pick one up for about £100 or thereabouts. You can go nuts, but I'm assuming that you want to keep the price down initially. Equally second hand, speak to the guys at the club. We at our club have a wall of used gear, old shooting jackets and gun cabinets and whatnot. So you might be able to pick up a bargain, something for 50 quid. They don't tend to, they don't break. I had the same cabinet for 25 years and I still know where that cabinet is. I sold it to a mate, he's now selling it to somebody else. A cabinet's a big metal box. It's not something that actually wears out. So it's a fair investment. Now, some people will say, oh, you only need a trigger lock or you need this, that and t'other. If you want the best in terms of protection and the chances of getting your certificate approved, I'd recommend getting a proper certified gun cabinet and then fitting it properly in your house. Fitment is generally to a brickwork or blockwork wall and should be in an area that isn't immediately visible. So it wouldn't be in your hallway or just pride of place on the living room wall. You want to find somewhere in your house that is essentially out of the way. The other thing that the police won't tell you is to think about is temperature. A cabinet is a big metal box, right? A big metal box doesn't like changing temperature. So if you're in an area that changes temperature a lot, the cabinet is going to lag behind the ambient temperature. And what that means is it's going to get condensation in it, and condensation means rust. Many's the time I've heard the tale of, oh, well, it's been in my cabinet's dry, there's no reason, it must be a defect. And often it isn't. You just aren't there when the cabinet is going through this temperature change because your central heating's come on and it's gone from cold to hot and then hot to cold, and you get condensation. The condensation then evaporates off, but it leaves that dampness on the gun and you get rust. So find somewhere where you think your temperature isn't going to change a lot, it's going to be relatively steady throughout the day, and also dry, obviously, as well as obviously being out of the way. You'll need to find somewhere to keep your keys. I keep my keys in a separate key safe that's separated from the cabinets, to which only I have the combination, so that I'm being as safe as possible. Once you've got your cabinet fitted, you then, I mean, you can apply for your license first, but basically at some point the FEO is going to turn up at your house, do an inspection, do an interview with you, and he's going to try and rip your cabinet off the wall. Don't worry too much about the FEO interview. They are just humans, but they are wanting to find out if you are actually interested in the sport or whether you just want to turn over a post office. So they're going to ask you questions about clay shooting, about shotguns, about cartridges and stuff. A little bit of background knowledge is going to take you a long way there to making, obviously, your license application go through as flawlessly as possible. Now, not getting into the politics of this, it is what it is. I'm just teaching you, hopefully, some tips that will help you to get your license as seamlessly as possible. Now, 6 to 8 weeks is normally how long it takes. We're in lockdown at the minute. A lot of forces are dealing with a lot of backlog, okay? So my FAC went out, I think it's 11 weeks ago now, but I'm not in a mega hurry. We're in lockdown. It is what it is. The police have got a lot of stuff to deal with. This isn't at the top of the priority list. It'll come when it comes. But you just got to be patient. I appreciate that's difficult. In the meantime, get some practice, get some coaching, use some club guns. And this is an ideal opportunity to figure out, or try and figure out, what you might like for your first gun. Now, first guns I'm going to do in a whole separate episode. Today is just going to be about sort of teaching you very, very basic stuff, hopefully to help you get into the sport. So I think that about does it for today. I just wanted to give you an idea about finding a club and some useful tips, hopefully, for getting your certificate that maybe you haven't seen anywhere else. Next episode, I'm going to talk about your first time at the ground. Some hopefully useful tips in terms of what to wear, some etiquette stuff that you won't know, and it will help you immensely. I think I see so many people really kind of being made to feel awkward or feeling awkward because they don't know what they're doing, and I think that hampers your enjoyment because you feel like people are watching you. So I'm hoping to give you some ideas of kind of how you should be doing it that will help you have more fun, and that's why we're here at the end of the day. Why shoot if it's not fun? Shooting is a fun sport, it's a safe sport, and we're going to talk about safety as well next time. But these are the things that will, I think, enhance your enjoyment and make you a better shooter long term. So thanks very much for tuning in. Do please follow me on Instagram. We have regular Q&A sessions now, so if you want to ask me any questions about this video, I'll be doing a Q&A, and we do them quite regular. Also, if you just want a bit of a laugh, we have an ongoing feud at the moment with the Somerset Hunters and TGS about the subject of anti-BASCs, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, the show is as ever supported by Bible Shooting Ground, Hull Cartridge and Mac White Gloves. Please do subscribe. I can't emphasize how important that is. And we've had a big uptick in subscribers since the grease video, and I really, really appreciate that. But I would like to make 10k by Christmas. So please subscribe if you enjoy the show. Or, don't, but in fact, subscribe anyway and then close your eyes when the videos come on. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.